When it comes to video games, I tend to gravitate much more towards single-player titles. These kinds of games have a clear goal to reach by the end, and they also allow me to become accustomed to the core mechanics at a pace much more suitable to me and the game itself, as though a symbiotic relationship forms in the game and the player syncing up with each other. But then you get multiplayer titles, and the general attitude you get from other players is "Get good! Your mom never loved you! Needless to say, the online gaming community can either be very welcoming or hopelessly toxic, depending on which fanbase you dip your toes into. Not to mention that, yes, you do have to get good in order to have fun with certain titles, because random people who play competitively online do not care if you're just starting out with the game. You're just another moving target for them to shoot. From my experience though, I've played a lot of Halo over the years, so I have quite a history not only with that game, but arena shooters in general. These games are all about wacky movement, unique arrays of weaponry, and being hyper aware of your surroundings. A quick trigger finger and precise aiming also help, since skill will leverage a victory much more than sheer dumb luck. Naturally then, I was intrigued by Splitgate, both because it's a blatant yet loving near rip-off of Halo's arena-style multiplayer, but also since it combines those mechanics with equally blatant elements borrowed from Valve's Portal games. The concept therein is about as straightforward of a mashup as you'd expect. You get the fast-paced movement and combat found in something like Halo, and then you have the ability to conjure up two interlinked portals across certain areas of the map, one which is colored blue and the other being orange. I mean, I'd be inclined to call this borderline shameless, were it not for the very small team at 1047 Games intending to make a loving homage rather than a ripoff. This studio had its origins from sleepless nights spent by computer science majors playing matches of Halo and Rocket League in their dorm room. They loved these games so much that they wanted to pay tribute to it somehow, while also monetizing their newfound game development skills. Lo and behold, Splitgate was born from one of their school projects at Stanford, the likes of which the developers are not shy in admitting is Halo meets Portal. And once again, I'd have more of a problem with that if the game didn't turn out to be a lot of fun. But it is fun.
No one likes to show off.
Unless what they're showing off is dope as f***.
Now bear in mind that the version of Splitgate currently available is the public beta, not a full release. Therefore, some things present in this version of the game may not be the same as what we'll eventually get in its completely finished state. But even so, as someone who's been playing the beta of this game off and on for almost 2 weeks, I just wanted to get some thoughts out before it really bursts into mega popularity. After all, if a free-to-play shooter is fun and has competitive potential, a popularity spike is quite possible. I won't be giving this game a score because of the fact that it's still in beta testing, but rest assured, I think it's very fun. What helps Splitgate's case is that it's not a complicated game, or an unfair one at that. There are no random ordnance drops, no killstreak awards, you don't have to flail around the whole map for 15 minutes waiting to encounter another player, there are no vehicles or turrets, and you certainly don't have to be confused as to the difference between one gun and the next. All of the information you need to succeed is always clear and concise, and the gameplay loop is simple. It's a pretty standard arena shooter with the added catch that you can portal around certain sections of the map. You also have the ability to sprint and briefly use a jetpack. Other than that, there's no random BS that gives any one player an advantage over the other. It's a game purely based on skillful gunplay, and I love that. As you can probably tell by this footage, I'm not the best at first-person shooters, but I can at least appreciate when a multiplayer game has a level playing field and encourages you to get better. When I slip up or I'm killed by another player, I know that it was either a dumb mistake I made, the other player got the drop on me, or they're simply better than me. Because of that, I've had a lot more fun with this game compared to most modern multiplayer titles. It's a no-frills experience designed by men and women who actually know how these kinds of games should work. Not to mention that the controls feel great. Anyone who's already comfortable with first-person shooters will feel right at home with the smooth gameplay and fast-paced movement Splitgate provides, regardless if you're on PC or console. At least from what I can tell, the aim assist is very helpful for controller-using plebs like me, and using the shoulder buttons to create portals quickly became second nature. Plus, all of the guns serve a specific, defined purpose, and one won't be confused as to what each weapon does when they come across them on the map, although I do think that the shotgun's a little OP, which they should probably nerf.
Kingslayer.
Core gameplay is where it counts, and Splitgate delivers. A few aspects of the game's design philosophy also enabled the core mechanics to really shine, while also increasing the possibility for enjoyment. One such choice is to make a clear distinction between your score and kill count. While other multiplayer shooters will tie a lot of your worth to the KD spread you get upon completion of a match, the negatives aren't so much the focus here. In Splitgate, even if you don't land the final shot to eliminate another player, a kill assist can still count as one of your kills. With games like Team Deathmatch, your score is the amount of kills you yourself get, but then you can have a higher kill count than your score since it factors in how many players you helped your teammates take down. I find there to be a lot of power in this creative choice, for it places emphasis on rewarding a team for working together to take down their opponents, rather than a match being a competition among quote-unquote teammates as to who can flex the hardest. Developers have been struggling for years to figure out how to encourage teamwork, but I think this is a positive step forward, one that will make gamers of all levels feel prouder for their accomplishments. The ability to conjure up portals is also a simultaneous source of joy for those wanting to capture Twitch-worthy moments, while also genuinely encouraging teamwork. What's nice is that there's no confusion as to where you can place your portals. There's only one consistent type of surface you can apply them, and this was a smart move, since if this mechanic was structured closer to a puzzle like the games that inspired it, that would have discouraged the fast pace which arena shooters need. Additionally, grenades do not do any damage towards players, for they're designed specifically to take down enemy portals, allowing one to really mess with someone else's strategy in fun, exciting ways. While not all of the maps allow the portal mechanics to shine, which I will touch on, there are a handful that allow players to be extremely strategic and pull off some ludicrous aerial tricks. My favorite map of all, Foregone Destruction, is a perfect example of this. This multi-leveled, temple-like place, which feels like it was ripped straight out of Destiny, greatly encourages players to use height and momentum to their advantage in battle. After all, portal surfaces are placed right at the very bottom, so you can arrange your portals in such a way to where you can do this. You've gotta love that. And as for team play, I've found that the portal mechanic has a lot of value for objective-based game types, specifically oddball. I didn't ever give this mode much thought in Halo, but it thrives in Splitgate, for while holding the ball, you can zip around the map with portal after portal, which is made extra entertaining by the fact that you have the ability to close up your portals at any given moment. As you can well imagine, this all leads to the most delightfully fun game of keep away you've played since the days spent on the elementary school playground. I also captured gameplay of an oddball match where my whole entire team sequestered itself in one area, and the portal mechanic allowed me and my teammates to get the drop on our opponents who were trying to sneak up on us, allowing our team to get an extremely high lead over the others. So yeah, I can confidently say that Splitgate is a lot of fun to play, but there are some drawbacks, some of which I doubt could be fixed since they're fundamental design flaws, while others could be opportunities for growth once it becomes a full release. A couple minutes ago I talked about how some maps really encourage the wacky physics sandbox you might expect from using portals, with maps like the aforementioned Foregone Destruction, Oasis, and Club Silo being standouts. But at least half of the other maps aren't quite on the same level. A lot of the portal surfaces in those maps either feel too spread out or they're positioned in such a way to where they don't encourage as much strategic gameplay, rather instead being spots to traverse entire sections of the map with. And when they do offer instances of tactical gunplay, I've occasionally seen players exploit them as camping spots, which lessens the game's chances for up-and-personal encounters that are more my speed. Mostly, the less inspired levels amount to just a lot of the typical sprinting and shooting that are commonplace in most contemporary shooters. Not that this is a bad thing, for the game is fun like I've mentioned, but Splitgate is at its best when the gunplay and the portal circus are in sync with each other. Because, after all, the game does not have that much personality when it comes to conceptual design choices. The guns all serve a unique purpose, which I can appreciate, but none of them have that interesting of a design, and some are suspiciously similar to their counterparts from other games. Certain names of game types are also ripped directly from the games they're inspired from, with the likes consisting of but not limited to SWAT, One in the Chamber, Gun Game, and Shoddy Snipers. I recognize that Split is, in and of itself, an homage to the shooters that the developers grew up on, but creativity could help this game be more than just the borrowed ingredients that were thrown into a crockpot. I would hope that creativity could eventually feed into the cosmetic items offered to players both as incentives for gameplay progression and as microtransactions, for there are very few of actual interest to me. None of the character skins seem to have much of a consistent theme running through them either. Of all the things I would recommend to the developers, if they're even watching this video, is to invest more time and energy into creating cool cosmetics for the weapons and character their avatars. And I would also love for there to be a split screen mode. My buddies and I strongly prefer local multiplayer to such a degree that I would gladly pay at least $20 or $30 for a premium version of this game that included such a mode. Please make it happen! That being said, despite being a mashup of elements pretty much entirely based on other games, Splitgate makes up for its lack of originality with the sheer effectiveness of its execution. Never mind that it's basically Halo meets Portal, for it works exactly as advertised, and it works well. Matches are quick, and the wait times in matchmaking are so brief that you'll be surprised as to how many games you'll breeze through in the span of an hour. I played this on a base model PlayStation 4, and it always ran at a consistent frame rate of 60 frames per second, with almost no issues with lag whatsoever. If nothing else, Splitgate successfully delivers on its premise with competent and very enjoyable results. If the idea of arena-styled combat mixed with Portal sounds exciting to you, then give this a shot. Given that it's free, you have absolutely nothing to lose, except for maybe your time if you absolutely suck at shooting games. Otherwise, thank you so much for checking out what I had to say about this game. If you'd like to check it out, you can always use my referral code, which is right here on the screen, in order to gain in-game currency. More gaming content is set for release in the future, so if you liked this video and would like to see what I have in store, please consider subscribing to the channel, as well as joining the notification squadron so that you don't miss out on those future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great one.
Game over. Victory.